Welcome to episode 57, all about Milan. And I have to say that Milan was a really nice surprise, even though we weren't supposed to be going there. Unfortunately, we had to change plans due to flooding in Italy, and we tell you all about what happened. With our weekend in Milan, we were determined to get out and explore as much as possible. Listen to hear why trying to find the Duomo started out as a very frustrating problem and the simple fix that had us in front of the stunning cathedral in under 10 minutes. We also share all about the spectacular Galleria Vittorio Emanuele and the oldest cafe where we had breakfast. We went early to avoid the crowds, and it was a great decision. Listeners, we were surprised and delighted to discover the canals in Milan, complete with gondolas. We explored the canal area before we found a massive castle. Come with us as we walk through the castle with its moat, towers, and 7-metre thick walls, to the extensive gardens and ponds that has its own Arc de Triomphe replica called the Arc of Peace. Stay listening to the end as we walk around the outside of an ancient arena and eventually find a way to see what was actually inside. We were so surprised. Oh, and also hear about what the arena was used for centuries ago. Trust me, you won't be able to guess. Hope you enjoy episode 57, all about Milan, and don't forget to click on the link in the podcast description for the show notes, where you can see all the photos of the places we talk about when we visited Milan. Cheers! And welcome to the Beach Travel Wine Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Leanne.
And I'm Lyle, and this is the travel podcast for beach-loving, wine-drinking couples over 50.
So if that sounds like you, grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax and listen as we go travelling the world, one wine at a time.
Cheers.
Buongiorno, ciao.
Ciao, baby.
That's going to wear really quickly, I think.
Ciao, buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Good morning, Lyle.
Yeah, g'day.
We are here ready to do a podcast today, episode 57, all about Milan, or Milano, as the locals call it.
That's like how I call it, Milano.
Milano. Well, why wouldn't you? That's what they call it, right? Anyway, like we call Sydney, Sydney.
No, we don't. Are you going to tell the folks why we've come to Milan?
Sure. We're in Milan. It wasn't our first choice. I think that's what Lyle is hinting at. He's given me the look there. We had a weekend in Milan because we had a cancellation of a weekend that we were going to in Bologna. And I think we might have mentioned this in a previous podcast that we were going, and I think I did say it had been cancelled. We were going to Bologna to the Imola F1, where Lyle's godson Harry was racing, and that was cancelled due to some horrific flooding around the area. And so we didn't want to go to Bologna, and I'm glad we didn't, because there was actually the train line was closed down and all sorts of stuff. So
yeah, I was sort of pretty concerned that if we got in, whether or not we'd be able to get out. And that turned out to be
the case.
Yeah, a good call.
So I got an email to say the train trip that we had booked had been cancelled, even though we weren't going to be on that train. So.
Yeah.
And Milan seemed the obvious choice, because after Milan we were going to Como, and it's a pretty easy trip from Milan to Como. So, and we talked about going to Milan before. So here we are in Milan. Yeah. Well, we got there first. We had to get there, didn't we?
Yeah. So we caught the taxi from the apartment to the Verona.
We were in Verona.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. To the Verona Porta Nuova station.
Nuevo.
There's multiple platforms. However, there are lifts, and there's plenty of information screens.
Yeah. This is in the Verona train station.
Yeah. We had a prepaid ticket.
Mm-hmm.
The regional train was €13 for a 2-hour trip, or the fast train was €29, and that took about an hour and 15 minutes.
We took the fast train.
Yeah, we did. And look, the railway travel here in Italy is fabulous. Yeah. We arrived at the Milan railway station. How did you find that, Leonita?
I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to sense a real shift in the way our podcasts are handling here, are going. I'm the one that does the questioning, mate.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Just get it right, okay?
Okay,
all
yeah.
Right.
Well,
so when we got to Milan, Lyle, Milano, I found that the train station was massive. I was blown away. It's like 4 stories high. It's got huge dome ceilings. It's like a massive shopping centre and packed full of people. Like
Yeah.
it was so busy.
Yeah, it's the second busiest in Italy. It has about 300,000 passengers a day.
A day.
And about 600 trips.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So
isn't
it's crazy. However, the good part about it is that all the platforms are on one level,
Mhm.
and it's very, very well signed.
It is, yeah.
And we followed the signs to the taxi rank, and it was right outside the door. But it was raining.
It was pretty easy to get a taxi too, wasn't it?
Sure, and we could have walked, I suppose. It wasn't that far, but because it was raining and it was relatively heavy, we took. I think it was about €8 for the taxi, so it
I
wasn't.
don't think we could have walked. It was quite busy. Anyway,
we
booked a nice hotel, the NH Collection Hotel. Yeah.
Yes, we did. It wasn't cheap, but I think that's possibly because
we booked it the last minute.
Yeah, it was a last minute thing, and it was like €589, which is about $960.
Yeah, for 2 nights. Yeah, and we still haven't got the money back, or we haven't tried to get the money back and try and claim insurance on that one in Bologna, because that wasn't cheap either, because the F1 was going to be on. But anyway,
but the hotel itself was pretty swish.
Yeah,
wasn't it? We were lucky enough to be able to get our room straight away.
Yeah.
The room wasn't that big, but it was, the bed was comfy, and there was no complaints. They had a bar downstairs, fairly big bar with lounge chairs and furniture and
a pool table,
restaurant, and it was all good.
Yeah, it was good. So, but we did decide we were going to dump our stuff, and we're only there for the weekend, so we headed off, even though it was raining, to find the Duomo, didn't we?
Yeah, we
did.
Which is
obviously the church that Milano is famous for.
Yeah.
And
we got a map at reception, and the guy at reception was really, really friendly and really, really helpful.
He said, turn left. And then, but then I put my Google Maps on, and I'm thinking, how can it be, like, this isn't making sense. It's wanting me to go left, and that guy told us you just basically follow your nose and go straight ahead. And
so what Leanne's really saying, it took a little bit longer than it should have. But Leanne, give her credit, she worked out that she had her Google Maps on car.
Yeah,
rather than walking.
Thanks. I knew I was going to say that, so I thought I'd get him first. And I'm sure I'm not the only one to do that, because our Google Maps has got us all around Italy so far. So it's a pretty handy thing to have. Did we stop though and have something to eat?
Yeah, we did.
We
did at the Milanese cafe. We had some juice and some focaccia, as I used to call them, focaccias. And look, it was about €36, but it was
salmon and avocado.
Yeah, it was beautiful. They were really nice.
2 pieces of toast. One was covered in beautiful fresh avocado slices, and the other one was covered in smoked salmon slices. So that was divine.
Yeah, it was good. So walking time probably took us 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And the first thing we came across just outside the big shopping centre, which you walk through the the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II shopping plaza, which is what you see, shopping mall, which is what
the picture. If you Google Milan, that's what comes up as that Galleria.
So to go through there, you go through the Piazza della Scala with a statue of, I think, Milano's favourite son, Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah. And he was around from 1452 to 1519. Now, there's some interesting things about him. He didn't go to school.
Didn't he?
No, he didn't. And
do you know what? I'm sure lots of people back then didn't, but anyway.
And he liked to dissect corpses.
Right.
He wrote in reverse because he didn't want to smudge. And this is crazy. Bill Gates bought his notebook for $30.8 million, and it's the most expensive book ever sold.
There you go.
And the statue is very impressive.
All right, just take a breath. Lyle's got all his exciting research.
So then we walked into the...
Can I talk?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, darling. So we didn't know about the Leonardo statue. We just came across that and thought, oh, this is impressive. And then, of course, you look up and there is the entrance to the Galleria. And it is massive, enormous, and absolutely stunning. However, it was filled with thousands of people with their umbrellas and wet gear and stuff. So, but I did get some nice photos on that day, and we wandered around in awe a little bit, sort of, didn't we? Like, because it's like a big cross shape, isn't it?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure you've got some information about the Galleria, have you?
This will surprise you, but I have. Its nickname is the Salon of Milan.
Yes.
Okay. And it was built between 1865 and 1877. It's Italy's oldest active shopping mall. It's 4-story double arcade, home to some of the oldest shops and restaurants, which include the Biffy Cafe.
Which I'm going to talk about that in a little while. Go on.
Okay.
Biffy? Yeah, tell me.
Well, that was founded in 1867 by pastry chef Paolo Biffy. Right. It's a neo-Renaissance architecture. Leanne's told you about the fact that it was cross-shaped.
Yeah.
And it is called the Octagon, where the central dome measures 47 meters.
Yes, it's good. It has that big dome. Yeah, it's amazing.
The floor itself, it's a mosaic floor,
beautiful.
And it is just beautiful.
And actually, I've got a really nice picture of the floor because we did go back when there weren't so many people. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute as well. But the beachtravelwine.com, episode 57, is a beautiful photo of the mosaics sort of leading up to the big arch dome ceiling. Beautiful.
Yeah, and the shop fit out. So remember that shop as you walk in with the lines?
And that's in the on our website as well.
Yeah, and basically it's just all the luxury retail. It's got, the horticulture, jewelry, books, paintings, and then you've got Prada, Gucci, anything you could think of, the luxury brands, Louis Vuitton, Armani, It's all there.
It's all there. And then there's hotels or part above it as
well.
Yeah. Have hotels so in those 4 stories.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure most people know that the Milan, or Milano, as the locals say, it's world renowned as the fashion centre of Italy fashion and world fashion probably, and it's also got the Italian Stock Exchange, Milano.
Yeah, I think it is known as the fashion sort of centre, and there's those big lines, as you said, in the shop fronts, and as I said, I've got photos of those, and you can see them in our Instagram stories. Go to the highlights of Milan, but also there's a bull in the middle of the shopping centre. In the mosaics.
In the
middle, and there's a rumour, is it?
Legend.
A legend, that's the word, that if you spin on it 3 times,
correct,
you get good luck.
Correct.
Yeah. And there was a few people spinning around while we were there, yes?
Well, we didn't do it because we didn't need the good luck, because we were always lucky.
Before we take you out into the Piazza Duomo, I want to ask listeners a favour. We're getting lots of feedback about our Italian episodes, and the previous one to this was Trieste, and I've had people messaging me and just saying how good it was and how helpful it's been. And I'm just asking listeners if you could take the time, and I know you're all listening, most of you on Spotify and Apple, to share this episode. If you know someone who's planning to go to Italy, please share this one, episode 57, all about Milan. Or if on our website, we have a whole page of all the Italy podcasts and show notes and pictures. So www.beachtravelwine.com/Italy. And, just share that with people, because, I know there's lots of people coming to Italy, and we've got so much information that'll be helpful and relevant to them. So yes or no?
See.
Yeah. So let's get back to Milano. We've just walked through the beautiful Galleria Vittorio Emanuele, and we are now in the Piazza Duomo. Let me paint the picture, because it's a grey, rainy day. There's umbrellas everywhere. The square has fencing and scaffolding set up. There's a big concert, a stage set up. They're having a big outdoor event, and so we don't know if the plaza is full of people to see the Duomo or the concert, or obviously both. But rising above all those people is the cathedral, and it certainly is striking.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
I'll give you a little bit of info.
It's got a few spires on it too.
Spires, yes.
Yeah,
it's got 153 spires.
Yeah.
Well, you said actually the other day we were talking about it, and you said it really reminded you of
the Sagrada Familia in
Barcelona.
In
Barcelona, and I think part of that is because of the spires, because there's so many spires.
And they're ornately decorated.
Yes, they are. So the Duomo Milano actually opens between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m.
Yeah.
You can, as an adult, it's €13, and with that €13, you get to use a lift. So I think it's €10 if you.
Okay.
I'm not sure that must be an upgrade.
Yes.
I don't know what's the.
You want fries with that?
Yeah. It's dedicated to the Nativity of St. Mary.
Right.
Its architecture would be classified as Gothic Renaissance. It was groundbroken. The original building, this is the original building, in 1386. It wasn't completed till 1965. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a good year.
Yeah, well, that was the year. Oh, can I say?
No, we'll just move on.
Okay, we'll just move on.
Leave that to people's imaginations.
It's got a capacity of 40,000.
Yeah.
The length is 158.6 meters. The width is 92 meters, or 302 feet. The height is 180 at 354 feet. Yep. And it has what did I say? I said 133. Maybe. No, it is. It's 135 spires.
Yeah.
Look, it is overwhelming. And Leanne, actually, I didn't even see it, but Leanne did see there was a statue mounted right at the top of the Duomo, and it's like solid gold.
So look at that, gold.
Yeah, and that's actually they call it the Madonna Nina statue, and that was put in probably the early 1700s. That was put on there, and the reason they put that on is they wanted that statue, or a statue.
Madonna has to be the highest one in a city.
Yeah, in the city. So
they find the highest spot.
Yeah, so as buildings grew higher, they put not replacement, but reproductions of that particular statue in gold as the buildings got higher. And I think the biggest one now, or the highest one now, is the Alliance building.
The Alliance building.
Yeah. So look, just as a description, the thing that sort of got me about the Duomo, on one side of it, where they must be doing repairs or
sort
something
of around almost the back of it.
Yeah, you've got this huge cinema screen, advertising screen. Like it was
seemed out of place, didn't it?
It did. But here's a couple of information or critics of the actual building. There's a guy by the name of John Ruskin, who was an art critic in 1819 to 1900. From every style in the world and every style spoiled. This is his critics of the building.
His critique of it,
Yeah. Not a ray of invention in a single form. The statues all over are the worst common stonemason yard pieces and look pinned on just for show. Oscar Wilde sent a letter to his mother, "The cathedral is an awful failure. Outside, the design is monstrous and inartistic. The over-elaborate details stuck high where no one can see them. Everything is vile in it. It is, however, imposing and gigantic as a failure." So they weren't real keen on it. But
I was going to say, why don't you go and have a look at beachtravelwine.com episode 57, because I did take quite a few photos of the outside of the Duomo, and let people make their own
Sure.
decisions about that.
Sure. But can I just one, I love to find out little things that not many people know. There is inside the Duomo.
Reportedly.
Oh, no, I think
Allegedly.
it's there. No, it's here. It's there. It's
Okay.
there. It's the Sacro Chiodo, which is the Holy Nail. It is purportedly is the word.
Allegedly.
One of the nails from the cross of Christ, miraculously found, according to tradition, by Elena, Emperor Constantine's mother.
Well, that's amazing. Lyle's such a cynic.
Well, it's a little bit like the Holy Grail in.
Well, they've got to be somewhere, Lyle.
And St James, and I just get it. But Constantine's mother. Well, Constantine was the Roman emperor that said that the old Catholics were the right religion.
So I jumped quickly from the Galleria to the Duomo, and I skipped over the Piazza Duomo, which is what you come across. And I talked about how many people in the stage and stuff. But that's quite an impressive square, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's huge.
Yeah,
absolutely huge. Look, there's a very, very big statue there, and it's basically the statue of Vittorio Emanuele II.
Oh, the one that the Galleria is named after.
You would think so. That would lend itself to that. Yep.
There could be two.
Yeah. Now he was born 1879 to 1896, and his real claim to fame.
I was going to say, what's his claim to fame?
He was the first king of an independent, united Italy.
Okay.
So you see, we've seen statues of him before. He's obviously a bit of a big deal, but that's pretty imposing. And then, as Leanne said, the rest of the square was they were having a radio station rock concert. That's what the deal was.
And so what we decided to do, can I move on from the thank you.
Sure, you're in charge.
Yeah, apparently. What we decided to do is we were going to get out of there. We looked at the forecast that the next day, because this was Saturday, the next day, Sunday, was our full day. We were going to start the day and come back there and hopefully early and, maybe get a few photos and just have a bit more of a look around when it wasn't so busy. And we started to head back and we decided that we were going to do a hop-on, hop-off tour, because that's a really good way, especially if you only have a small amount of time, or actually even if you've got a long amount of time, it's good because then you can see where you want to go. But it's a good way to see the city.
Do a bit of a recce.
And we hopped on the yellow line only because that's where we were. And
it was the first bus.
It was the first bus that came and we hopped on, didn't we?
It was €24 and that's each. And that's for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And that's on your ticket. So
so this was maybe 3-ish in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So we then had to 3 o'clock the next day. So we enjoyed the hop-on, hop-off bus, and we're going to tell you about a couple of places that we went to the next day because we had seen them, right? Yeah. So I think that probably took us, I don't know, we were on there for nearly a couple of hours, weren't we?
Yeah.
And did our little recce, and we hopped off, and once again it took me a while to find our way home. I thought we were a bit closer than what we were, but that didn't matter. We wandered around. We like exploring, and we managed to farm. It wasn't raining this time on the way back. I think we had our umbrella up maybe once, and we headed back to the hotel. We were exhausted, but, we went and had a drink, and we met some people there. There was a whole group of women and one guy from Australia.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're all from Melbourne.
Yes.
And they were doing a tour, and then there were those two young guys from London or Manchester, I think.
Yeah, from Manchester they were. Yep. And they were there for a house music festival.
Yeah.
And one of the guys actually owned a restaurant in Manchester.
Yeah, called Fussy Eaters.
Yeah.
He kept telling me what it was, and I can't do the English accent, but when he slowed down and tried to do it in an Aussie accent, I got that it was Fussy Eaters. I didn't understand him. I thought he was saying Fissy Eaters and Fossy Eaters. Anyway, they were really nice people as well. And we just decided that we were going to eat at the hotel that night. didn't we?
Yeah, well, fortunately, we made our new best friend, which is the barman, and he's Giovanni.
Uh-huh.
And
Lyle's looking at me as if to say, "Look at me, I remember the name."
Yeah, don't ask me to spell it. Yeah, but yeah, Giovanni was excellent. I mean, he was really, really good. And fortunately, they had our new favourite Italian wine,
Lugano.
Lugana.
Yes.
And so, so we first of all we had a gin and tonic, and then we thought, well, we will go, and we're going to have an early night anyway. So we had pizza, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And Lagana, and we had a lovely afternoon.
We did.
We watched it was the European Rugby Union final.
Yeah.
They had a big screen, so we watched that. And as Leanne said, we introduced ourselves to the girls from Melbourne, and it was really, really a pleasant afternoon.
It was, yeah. So what Lyle didn't tell you though is we wanted a bottle of Lugano to take back to our room, and the barman, who at that stage wasn't Giovanni, said no, it was going to be 40 something euro, and we said no, it was only 32 or something, right? And he's like no, and I'm like, well, we just paid that for a bottle, and anyway, so we're like, no, we're not paying that for it. Ridiculous. So we went back up to our room. So we went back up our room and decided that we, on the room service bill, the room service menu, they had the bottle, and it was the same price as what we paid. So we ordered it, and Giovanni brought it up, and he apologised because he said the younger guy was trying to sell us was a sparkly one.
Yeah, it was champagne.
Yeah, and he said, so here's your Lugana. But by the time we paid the €8 room service charge, we basically paid more than what we had.
But we didn't pay quite as much as the champagne, but it wasn't far off it.
Anyway,
so
off to bed we went.
There's two lessons there. Make sure you get friendly with the barman, and secondly, you can outsmart yourself.
Yeah, we probably didn't need it anyway.
So, no, that's true.
So let's get on. We're getting lost in the details here, and we've got so much to tell about our full day in Milano because we did shitloads basically. So we were up early because I wanted to get back to the Duomo, have a look in the plaza when it wasn't so busy, and it was a bit better. So off we went, and there were still people around, obviously, because it was, I think it was 8:30 a.m. And what was quite funny is all the Instagram influencers, there's people in the matching outfits, and there's the poses and stuff. But good luck to them. I mean, they brightened up the spot a little bit. So I did get a couple more photos of the Galleria and also of the Duomo, and they're on our website, episode 57. And then Lyle mentioned earlier that about the Biffy Cafe, the oldest one, we, by randomness, chose that one to have a coffee and a croissant in.
Yeah, we didn't know at the time it was the oldest cafe in Italy. But
and these little cafes, they sort of jut out into the Galleria, and they've got like an awning, and they've got pretty flowers, and they're ornate, and they're just so Italian, and you just want to sit there and this time of day want to have a coffee. So we were sort of thinking,
I think we were the first or second table.
Yeah, this is going to cost us a fortune, but it wasn't too bad.
No, it wasn't bad at all. We had 2 cappuccinos and a couple of croissants, and it was like €17. Yeah. So.
And the coffee was great.
Yeah, the coffee was well. We haven't had a bad cup of coffee, have we?
We haven't had a bad coffee. So that was nice. We went back and did that, and so after that, we decided we were going to get back on the bus and go and see a couple of the things that we discovered the day before. And so the first stop was, which we didn't even know, that Milan has canals.
Correct.
Yeah, like quite a lot of canals. So we hopped off the bus in the canal area, and they're quite wide, and there's bridges over them, and lining the canals are restaurants and bars, and there's lots of beautiful climbing vines and beautiful smelling flowers, and I was amazed. So you want to tell us a bit about the canals, Lyle? He's itching here to tell me.
I'm champing at the bit. There's two major canals, and they're the Pavase and the Grande. There's 49.9 kilometres.
Let's say 50.
Or 31 miles of canals. There's 25 stone or steel bridges. Leonardo da Vinci started working on the canals in 1482. It was used, and originally it was used to transport the marble used to build the Duomo.
Yeah.
So that was pretty clever.
Yeah.
The systems consists of 5 canals. Today, the canals are mainly used for irrigation.
And I was going to say, like, they're not like the Venice canals, which wind around the buildings and stuff. They're all long, straight canals. But we did see gondola.
Yeah, we did see one.
Yeah, like the guy paddleboarding next to him.
Yeah. And they were chatting away, and people are, obviously on the shore, and they know the bloke,
chatting away.
Yeah, everybody's chatting
Giovanni, away. Antonio.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And for those that like the old flea market, along every Saturday morning, the Fiera de Senegalia operates on one of the canals. I actually thought the canals were really, really had a cool vibe.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
we sort of there's a couple of places we stopped in, and one was like I think it was like the licensing house for boats or something, and it was like engraving or something, and it had beautiful pictures on the wall and the little garden area, and then there's some old little houses or little shacks along the way as well, which they've now turned into obviously restaurants and things, and some funky shops. And yeah, I thought it was fabulous. And once again, go to beachtravelwine.com episode 57 and have a look. But if you want to see that gondola, the guy on the gondola, on Instagram at Beach Travel Wine, if you up the top the story highlights, if you go to Milan, you'll see that, because that was pretty cool. I was surprised. It was great.
Well, apparently at night too, that whole area turns into the nightclub area.
Yeah, well, we actually ran into some people who had been staying in Milan. That was Ashley and Kyle, and they stayed in the canal area, and they said it was fabulous. Like to
oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, they said it was really good. Have you got anything else you want to talk about the canals?
No.
You enjoyed them though?
Oh, yeah, I thought it had a really cool vibe, as I said.
Another thing that Milan is famous for is, I think it probably has the most famous painting in Italy there. Would you say? We go close to it?
Sure, it's the Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper.
The Last Supper, and it's massive.
Yes, it is. It's 4.3 by
meters.
Yeah, by 8.8, I think it is.
Yeah.
So it's massive. Look, it's we actually drove past the convent that.
So it's in the convent.
Yeah, the Santa Maria del Grazie.
Yes.
Where Leonardo da Vinci's painting of the famous Last Supper. It's open from 9 till 12:20, and from 3 till 5. It's a Dominican.
12:20.
Yeah, I know. They're very specific. Dominican convent. It's UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Duke of Milan, Francesco Sforza, ordered the construction of the convent. The groundbreaking was 1463. It was completed in 1497. And he also commissioned Leonardo to paint the mural. A guided tour is between 100 and 150 Australian. The normal entry is €15. Now you've got to book it, because they only let 18 people in every 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. The Last Supper is not a fresco, though it is a wall painting. Da Vinci invented a new method to complete the Last Supper. Da Vinci needed time to work on the Last Supper, time that fresco paintings don't allow for. So, it's 4.6 meters by 8.8 meters, and it is located on the wall in the convent's refectory. Now, I had no idea what a refectory was, but a refectory is where all the nuns, or priests or brothers, collect to have their meals. So it's just on the wall in a communal
like dining room.
Dining room, yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's the original Last Supper.
That's the original Last Supper. There is one in the Louvre, and I think there's copies, replicas all around the place. There was one in, where was that? That was.
Stop pointing at me. Yes, there was a replica. I was going to say, you get excited, don't you, honey? There's a replica, a small one, in the Miramara Castle in Trieste, which I mentioned in the Trieste podcast, and to hear all about that. Okay, so back on the bus we are, and Lyle's like, I want to go. So where we're going to go now? We saw a big castle the day before, and he's like, I'd like to go to the castle. So we hop off on the castle stop. Actually, we went through another train station and had something to eat on our way to the castle. Yeah,
you really enjoyed the toilets there, actually, if I remember.
I think he's being a bit of a smart aleck. But we went to Castle Forsesco.
Sure, yes.
And it's a very imposing building, impressive.
Yeah, it's a square plan castle.
Yeah.
200-meter long sides, 4 towers, and it has 7-meter thick walls.
I was just about to say, it's like if you think of a moat, around a castle, you have the big walls with the big towers, and then it's surrounded by the moat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which doesn't have water in it, but it's still got the big ditch that you walk across.
Yeah, it's open from 7 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. daily. It's a medieval fortification and built in 15th century by Francesco Sforza, and it was started in 1360 to 1499. It now houses many of the city's museums and art collections.
Yeah, so we didn't go into any of those, but there were quite a few different museums that you could go in. So where we went, we just wandered around the courtyard areas, I guess you'd say, and it was actually free to go in there. We didn't have to pay anything, and it was great.
It was impressive, wasn't it? Really, yeah. And they had a lot of murals and that on the walls and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was really, really good. Now the history was that that obviously the Francesco Sforza, he had control of it, and like in all Italian cities now, there was one family that dominated, and the Sforza was the guy. But then,
a bit like the McCabe's at Kings Beach.
Yeah. That's it. So he controlled it first, and then came the French.
Yeah.
And then there was a Spanish domination at one stage. Then the Austrians. It's the same.
Yeah.
And then good old Napoleon came along.
Nothing's new in the zoo.
Yeah, Napoleon the First. So. After the unification of Italy in the 19th century, the castle was transferred from military use to the city of Milan. The former parade grounds were transformed into Parco Sempione,
which we're going to talk about in one momento. But yeah, so obviously the gardens will now become a park, which is nice. But I just wanted to reiterate the huge moat, around it. And we went in one way across the moat through the 7-meter thick wall.
What do they call those?
Drawbridge.
Drawbridge, yeah.
Across the drawbridge, and and the massive big sort of courtyard area, as I said, where you can see the big 4 towers. There's another big tower on the side where one of the museums is. And then it caught my eye, like we walked out another sort of big archway and across the moat, and that is where we spotted these beautiful gardens. So nothing sort of calls to me more than a beautiful garden.
Sure.
And we left the castle then, because I walked across the drawbridge and all I could see were green sort of grass patches, beautiful big trees, and in the distance what looked like the Arc de Triomphe. And it actually reminded me almost of looking down the Champs-Elysees.
Absolutely.
Only that's a road and this wasn't, towards that. And I'm just like, we have got to go and discover it. Even in our hop on bus, I didn't see the garden area. And so this was a real surprise.
Yeah, total surprise.
And the sun was out.
It's a beautiful day.
And we just decided we weren't going to rush to get down to the Arc de Triomphe, because I had a look at the map that we had, and there's lots of walkways, and they're wide walkways, and they were beautiful tree lined paths you could go along.
Yeah, well, then the paths were a little bit like Paris, if you remember. They're like that yellow gravel.
Gravel, yeah.
Yeah.
And along the way, there's all these beautiful things to look at. There's a couple of ponds, beautiful ponds in the middle, and they, had lovely, beautiful plants around them. The ponds had fish in them. You could see big fish and turtles and ducks.
Swans.
And there's a bridge that was back from the 1800s, I think, that you cross over to get from one side to the other.
Yeah, I've just gone out of my head, but it'll come to me.
That's all right.
It was the Bridge of the Mermaids.
Yeah.
It's a pedestrian bridge, and it was inaugurated in 1842.
Okay. And so I've got beautiful pictures of the park, once again, on the website, episode 57, or, videos of it, and on our Instagram highlights of Milan. It was lovely. And so we walked up all the way. It's quite a distance. Like, how big is it? It's like 38.6 hectares.
38, you're correct. As some may say, 95 acres.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, look, it opens at 6:30 to 9 p.m. daily. It was established in 1888 to 1894. Probably the biggest statue is because there's statues everywhere around it, and it's an equestrian monument to Napoleon III. It was completed in 1881, but deemed too controversial, and it was not installed until 1927.
Yeah.
So, because old Napoleon III was a French king.
Okay.
So
that is a big statue.
It is a huge statue.
But then we went down, as I said, to the Arc de Triomphe. I'm sure it's not called that.
No, it's called the Porto Sempione. No, it's not. It's the Arch-of-Peace.
Okay, yeah, okay. The Sempione is the park name, obviously. So the Arch-of-Peace, and on top of that, there's a big bronze chariot with 6 horses, and a big statue there as well, isn't there?
There is. This marked by a landmark triumphant arch called the Arco della
so the Arch-of-Peace,
dated back to the 19th century.
Yep.
1807, under Napoleon rule, the arch was built. On the striking bronze statue, a chariot drawn by 6 horses and led by Minerva, the goddess of war.
Yes.
But basically what they say, the goddess of war, is that represents peace, because she always wanted peace.
So, but when the day we were there, they had like a massive fun run on or something.
Yeah, it was a women's thing. And
so the whole around the bottom of the Arch of Peace were, tents and people.
And there was a huge staging area.
Yeah, there. So that's but just added to the atmosphere, didn't it? It was
yeah,
really
and
nice.
there was loud music, and it was a really, really good vibe. Yeah.
But then on the map, I saw there was to the right side of the arch, there was what they called an arena.
Yes.
And all it was just like a drawing of looked like a little arena. And so we decided we were going to go and find the arena, which was actually pretty easy to find. And neither walk through the pretty gardens, the green, and because they'd had so much rain, the grass was so green, and they've got the massive big trees, and there's people, because the sun's out, they're finally picnicking and, out enjoying the sunshine.
And walking their dogs.
Yeah. And so, so we sort of got out of the main area and found the arena, and we walked all the way around the outside of the arena, and there was nobody there.
No one.
Like I thought, all you silly people in the Duomo Square, why aren't you out here enjoying the beautiful sunshine and park? But I'm glad they weren't. So, we walked around this ancient arena and got to the front, and I could see you could go in there. But I just thought, because there's no one around, I had no idea. So we decided we were going to go in and have a look inside. And I was so glad that we decided to go inside, because another thing I noticed from the outside, you could see this. I said to Lyle, check out that. And he looked up and he was like, bloody hell, it's a massive big chandelier, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm hoping we can go in there. I thought it must have been a private residence or a private hotel or something. But anyway, we were able to go in, weren't we?
Yep.
Yeah. And I think it was like, wasn't free, but she said it's like a €3 donation, which we paid. And up we went and it's only that with the one room that you're allowed in, but it's that lovely big ballroom, I guess you'd call it, would you?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not a ball. Anyway, it's a massive big room with those 2 chandeliers, and the photos I got of those are just stunning. And from there, you walk outside and you're actually on the balcony overlooking the inside of the arena, because from the outside walking around the arena, you cannot see what's in there. You've got no idea what's in there, have you?
Yeah, all you can see is the big lighting towers.
There's a couple of big lights. So in we go, and on the balcony, and there was one other two like a couple, and they left, and we are the only people inside this ancient arena.
Sure.
And right in the middle is a football field, a soccer field.
Yep, and then there's a 400-metre running track around the outside of it.
So it's like the athletic club, they call it now.
Oh, I see. I didn't realise that. Yeah. But it was opened in 1807. It's neoclassical architecture. As Leanne said, it's mainly used for football, rugby, and athletics.
However, it wasn't always like it was full of water.
That's right. We introduced ourselves to what we thought was an English-speaking guide, but he wasn't. He was Italian, and he showed us some photos. Yeah.
But he spoke Spanish, so we were able to.
That's right.
Yeah, communicate with him.
That's right. Lima was able to speak Spanish with him, but it was incredible. He showed us all these photos of all the
reenactments of battles.
Like sea battles.
Yeah.
So the whole arena, at some point, was full of water.
Yeah, that's what it was built as.
Yeah, like it was amazing.
Well, I guess it wasn't that far away from the canals. I don't know.
Well, that's obviously what filled them, was the canals. Yeah, so
I just felt, and you went actually down the old steps and had a wander around and a bit of a closer look, and so it's quite interesting seeing the photos I took, because you've got the old obviously terrace seating, and then you've got the modern athletic track and the football field.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. Yeah, it was, but it's but interesting what they use it for now. They've had acts, as I said, the reconstruction of the naval battles, but they also had Buffalo Bill's Wild West show there.
I can see that.
Yeah, so it wasn't. There was research that I did this.
No, but I can imagine that happening there.
Yeah, sure. And they had, and then probably more modern acts like Joe Cocker, Sting, The Cure, Lenny Kravitz, Robert Plant. Yeah, so all these, and like the list went on. That I just listed the probably more famous ones. So they use it as an entertainment venue as well. So yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. It's nice when you discover little places like that, because I remember once again talking to Ashley and Kyle, as people we met that had been to Milan and were staying on the canals, and they hadn't found the arena, and they'd wander around a lot too. So I think we were pretty lucky to find that, weren't we?
Yes, and then we decided the weather was just getting better and better and better.
I know where this is going.
And we walked and walked and walked.
So, like, as you can tell, Lyle's getting raspy voice. He's tired. It's time for something to eat and drink. Yeah. Yes. And we found this beautiful little cafe called Bar Bianco.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's sort of overlooking one of the ponds, and you can see the bridge, and it was so nice, wasn't it? And it was, I can't remember what we had. You probably had. No, do you? No. Anyway, but the meal that we had, and there is a picture of this as well. It was so fancy, the way it was plated up and presented, and then they bring out your drink in a plastic cup. It was just bizarre. I don't know why I remember that, but anyway, but it was nice, wasn't it?
Well, I think we were sick of the wet weather, and
the sun's shining brightly.
Yeah, the day was just beautiful. Where we were was beautiful. I sort of said,
we had a great day looking and exploring. Yeah. It's really, really good. So beautiful day, explored, had lunch, nice drinks in the park. Happy. We walked back to our hotel. Yeah, it was quite a walk.
Yeah, it was a fair walk because we decided not to catch the hop on, hop off bus. We decided we were going to just, because the weather was so beautiful, we thought we'd just go for a slow stroll back to the hotel and just to have a look around, see, have
a bit more of an explore.
Yeah.
So back at the hotel and quick probably Batman change, and we head out just for an early dinner.
And we just wanted to find somewhere close.
Yeah.
Because we knew we were going to have to get up early to head off again.
And we're just basically around the corner was a restaurant, and it was Bianco Latte, which was a lovely little restaurant, and Bianco means white, so all the furniture's white, and we're sort of part of a little bakery and a part of a little shop, and had restaurant out the back, and we had a lovely dinner. It was a great atmosphere,
Yeah, I was really impressed, to be honest. It was very, very, very well run.
Yeah.
I could see like where we were sitting, the kitchen, and everything was spotless. All the waiters had uniforms on. It was a really, really good experience.
And to be honest, we had trouble finding somewhere.
Yeah, on the Sunday night. Yeah, maybe. But it was.
Well, online, I was trying to find somewhere, and we ended up going there because it had been open every day or every time.
And we had no idea that there was a restaurant out the back. We had just seen the front.
I saw people sitting out the front having coffee and little.
Yeah, and we thought, we were getting desperate for somewhere to eat, and then they said, "Oh yes, come through," and they out the back, and it was a bloody big restaurant.
Yeah, it was huge. Yeah, and it was full of families too, so it was obviously very child friendly. Yeah.
And full of locals, obviously.
Yeah, full of locals. Yeah, because they were all chatting and they were saying goodbye, and it was nice. And so we headed back to our beautiful hotel room, and we didn't order room service wine this time. We didn't make that mistake twice, did we?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So Lyle, we're in Milano. We didn't want to be there, but we're glad that we, the place we chose instead of Bologna was as much excitement and exploration. We enjoyed it. And I think a weekend in Milan or a couple of days in Milan is, definitely something to do because it's like a transport hub. So,
sure.
A lot of people go through there. So,
well, everybody I'd spoken to about Milan, well, not everybody, but quite a few people, including even our travel agent, said,
she's like, you're not going to miss out much.
You're not going to miss out on much. I reject that. I think that if you're willing to explore a bit, I mean, that area, the Duomo and the Galleria, and that's just phenomenal. When you walk into it, and it is so big, but it just looks so classy.
Do you know what? I would actually say I prefer Milan over some of the other places we've been in some ways because you are able to walk and explore, and that's what we like to do. You know, we don't just want to sit and have lunch every day, you do, but we need to be out exploring and be able to walk places. So I did enjoy that aspect of it. So
and the park was just the cherry on top. So
and then the arena, like how good was that?
Yeah, I like for a weekend, probably that's all you need.
Yeah.
But for the old weekend away, romantic weekend away, it was pretty fantastic. So
me.
Okay.
You're not going to ask my question. This is my question to ask. Where was your favourite place to have a glass of wine?
Well, it certainly wasn't the room service bottle we had. I'd have to say at the Bianco Cafe in the park.
Yeah.
What's the name of the park again?
It's Parque Sempione.
Yeah, I thought that was magnificent. I think I said to you at the time, I couldn't think of a better place to be.
Well, I would say that because we weren't there that long, that would be my favourite place as well. So I'm going to cheat and say my favourite place to have a coffee was in Cafe Biffy.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because we're sitting in the Galleria. There's hardly another soul there. It's so glamorous and
that's the word, glamorous.
Yeah, it was just beautiful, and I really, really loved it.
And the waiter there was excellent.
Yeah,
if you remember.
So that was one of my favourite experiences in Milano. Yes, see. All right, before we say arrivederci, just wanted to
or ciao.
just say once again, we love getting messages. People have just been sending me DMs on Instagram and saying, I love the podcast. The podcast is great. It's really helpful. I've just been to Venice. Thanks so much for your podcast, all that sort of stuff. So it's fabulous, and it makes us feel like, we're being helpful and useful, and making all these podcasts is a worthwhile. People are getting a lot of information out of them. So if you have listened to one and you've enjoyed it, please send us a message. You can send us a direct message on Instagram at Beach Travel Wine, even on Facebook, where you can send us a message there. And we'd love to hear from you, wouldn't we, Dom? All right. So enjoy I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and we'll be back next week for somewhere in the Italian countryside, maybe city. I don't know. You'll have to wait and see. Arrivederci.
Ciao.
Baby.